Morning. Good morning. Just literally trying to sort out my hair. Just doing something fun today. Alright. It's Saturday. Right. Loves the mornings. Boom. Pooja in there like swimwear. Hey, Jax. Wave. Wait, cup of tea. Best way to start the day. Cup of tea. Nice cup of tea. Hey, Johnny. Yeah. How is everyone this morning? It's really look. It's really lovely out there. Been for a walk already this morning. Yep. Get them in. Had 3 dogs today. It's like walking with a pack of dogs. That's a lot of tennis ball throwing, by the way. We've got 3 dogs. That is a lot of throwing. Right. Today, when just digestion goes wrong. It's a good one. How many times can I not mention about poo during this? One. Bargate. I'm gonna bargate this. See if I can bargate. How many times? So I've got a pen pot now. Make life easy. This is working from home in extreme. Got a pen pot. Just so you know, you've accepted working from home when you've invested in a pen pot. Jesus, right. Bargate 1 said the word poo. Oh, there we go. Second one. Right. Now, let's make clear that I'm not a GP and or registered health professional. However, having said that, sure, I'm trying to sort this out. I'm also not a hairdresser. Jesus. I know what's best to do here. I think it's going to be one of those moments. It's one of those days, Pooja. You can sense my pain. It's going. Can't do it no more. Look, it's just better. It's better all around that people have to see this. Experience, witness the mess. That is my hair. Right. So, what I will say though, I'm going to say not professional. Pooja's laughing, yeah, but hair's a mess now. Okay, let's start with a fact. No, I can't do it. I need to have it down. Let's start with a fact. We do not eat the foods that we did 100 years ago. First, because most of us weren't alive. Let's be honest. Secondly, because those foods just didn't exist. And what's happened over an amount of time is our bodies have started to accept these foods as, I'm going to do the bunnies, as normal. Right? So our bodies aren't necessarily... Think of a caveman eating Pringles. I mean, I don't even know what to do with it stuff. I mean, you'd probably end up throwing it around a bit to get inside. Because it couldn't work out to get inside the Pringles. You just can't see it, can you? You just can't see Neolithic caveman going, do you know what? I'm going to hunt and gather some Pringles tonight, darling. It wasn't that anyway, was it? Oh. Sounds like... I bet he sounded like Sam. A bit prehistoric man sounded like Sam. Oh. See what sounds like me. He's gonna have Pringles. Okay, in all fairness though, the reality is that we did not have the I'm joking, obviously. However, the reality is, hey Molly, the reality is that we did not have we didn't have access to the food sources that we had hundreds of years ago. Hey, Bina. What's happened over time is that we've our digestive systems have adapted to modern processed life. Now, adaptation to modern processed life. I'm sure you're laughing at the Pringle Sam situation, Hafsa. You can see it, can't you? You can just imagine Danny's at home with Noel in a cave by a fire, and Sam's out going, ugh, oh, Pringle. I can, worryingly. Reality is though, we don't go and hunt and gather Pringles these days because we just get to co-op. It's not a big drama. They don't go out spearing Pringles. Although our bodies have adapted to modern living in terms of gut health. Woo, there's a question one, isn't it? So when clients come to us, usually they're at a point of which they've tried a lot. And when I say try a lot, they've if they've had gut issues, or let's start with, first thing when clients come to us, they believe that the gut function they have is okay, me included. I have to admit, when I started working with Sam, I thought I was absolutely normal to go to the toilet 6 times a day. Can't just be clear that it's not. We should not poo that many times a day. Ding, that's third. There we go. So on a three so far for saying the word beans with P. However, the first point I'm going to make, a lot of us assume that the digestive issues we have are normal because we've had them for so long, right? And that's a big point. So if you think about it, so we assume that the gut issues that we have are normal because we've had them for so long, and also because people around us have generally the same gut issues, or it's a joke, etc., or it's just an accepted culture and social thing that people's guts, like bloating, farting, all of that is normal, right? Because we just assume it's part of our lives, because it's part of the lives of the food we eat now at this point. And that's part of what happens to people's digestions. It becomes acceptable that this is how it's meant to be. Bloating after bread and things like that is really common, right? We accept it's normal, and the reality is it's not actually. If here's fundamentally something: if you fart after you've ate anything, there is something that is not sat well with you. We just assume that that's normal. Part of digestion is to be farting, when in fact it's not. It's a sign that your gut isn't digesting something as efficiently as it can be. Even if it's minor, it means that something hasn't quite, or isn't quite working well through your gut bacteria. So something is not going through as it could be, right? As again, we get so used to it though, and everybody else talks about it like it's normal. So it's normal, right? No, it's a sign that there's something a little bit off balance. Hafsa's like this. What did I eat last night? I've just been sitting there farting all day. Yes, Hafsa's like this. Ooh, yes, Hafsa, it's not normal. It's not normal to fart. It's really hard. Like, ooh, normal. No, it's a sign that something isn't quite sitting well. Think of anything where, Hafsa, if you're having a moment, think of any of the regular things that you potentially have where the most commonly it happens, like anything that's got high dairy or high processed amounts, like pizza, for example. Pizza's always on, right? Pizza's like, I feel that way. Right? Once the digestion, they get bloated, farting, lots of problems going to the toilet a couple of days later. Not coincidence, right? Hi, Bally. Not coincidence, just being accepted. Yeah, you share that. We'll go into details, but we all always share with Danny when we're like, won't be cooking that again, please. We all need to work in a safe zone. No, that's the point though, Hafsa. It is accepted that that's a normal reaction to eating food. Like, okay, it's just like, it's how it is. It's not. And actually, the thing is that also part of us accepting that our gut health is the way it is also why we accept that our energy levels, or our performance, however you want to call it, or how efficient you are with training, we just accept that's what it is, because like most things in life, we don't know the difference until we compare it. So a lot of clients will come to us at a point of which they've accepted low energy, low efficiency when it comes to processing food, farting, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, like not going for the amount of clients we've had that either go to the toilet three or five times a day, or go once every 2 or 3 days, or the most I've seen is like once a week. That, those people know the extreme that something's probably a little bit off. It's just they've accepted because it's part of their lives, and they accept that, like everything, like I talked about yesterday with consistency, a lot of things you accept in life, it's consistently the same. You accept it's consistent. It's how it is. It's something that happens every day, exactly the same, and therefore that is how it is, right? It is what it is our favourite catchphrase of this century, isn't it? It is what it is. I accept I fart a lot. And I poo a lot too, or don't poo. There we go. Don't have to. There we go. 5. I've hit the first 5 bar gate on saying the word. Woo! Woo! This is how, who'd have thought of saying a Saturday like this? 5-bar gating, how many times I say the P word? Oh, Bally, will you? Yes, I am getting there. Bally, Instagram can't see this. Bally's jumping ahead on Facebook, like, boom, let me just drop this one in. Yes, Bally, that is a very good way of helping the digestive system. I'll get there, I promise. Just laying the scene there, Bally. I'm painting a picture of poop. Doesn't count. There's P and P on the end. So when they come to us, when clients come to us, they said you can have minor, not minor, it is minor in the scheme of things, where you can have people with leaky gut, IBS, or diagnosed with IBS or leaky gut, food sensitivities, very rarely allergies, to be fair, there or thereabouts, but a lot of intolerances diagnosed, or some suggestions of potential intolerances, just there's never actually been followed through, as in whoops, Billy. A client would be told there's something wrong, as in, yeah, we think you've got intolerance. Let's send you for a test at some point, and they may be still waiting for that test, and it's been some time. At that point, they're still kind of waiting to find out what it is, right? So it doesn't always get followed through with a lot of clients who come to us. Or again, they've accepted, they know there's something that's up, but actually there's manageable levels, and so they continue. Right, they just continue with their nutrition as it is their diet, and kind of manage the symptoms. Right, I got one client who just walked around with wet wipes all day in his bag because he's an acceptance that he was going to toilet that often. Just how it was, right? It was just I've got told I got IBS, Helen, so that's just how I live. I manage the symptoms. I'm like, ooh, let's just manage what's actually going on. Because getting a diagnosis doesn't mean necessarily that the actual issue's been resolved. It's just like going, putting a label on and going, we know what it is. There you go. Next. You know, no criticism, just how it is for people. Again, when they live with it so long, they just accept it as part of daily life. When you know it's off though, you know, right? If you've had, for example, though, on the flip side, if you've had really great health and then it changes somehow, then you know, right? Because you start to notice. Really good gut health depends on a lot of things, right? Depends on bacteria massively. So balance within the gut. I'm sorry, there's appear to have like a dog frenzy going on this morning. What's going on? I don't live next to a dog sanctuary. It just sounds like all the dogs are kicking off in the neighbourhood at the same time. It's like Lady and the Tramp out there. Apologies. If you can't hear it, even worse, I've just told you it's there. So good gut balance helps. Good gut lining, so like the mucosa is great. Like having a good mucosa helps. Because at the end of the day, right, fat bomb, I don't think a lot of people know this. I didn't know this though, to be fair. 70% of your immune system's in your gut. So 70% of your immune system is dictated to by your gut health. So your gut flora. When you think of it like that, that's it's quite a lot, really. So the reason why, especially in this day and age where we're in this situation right now, looking after your immune system, or generally looking after your gut bacteria, which therefore dictates your immune system, is like quite important these days, isn't it? If it wasn't before, it is certainly now. So it's really important to look after that, because actually, whilst we don't kind of associate it has a massive part to play, it actually does. Now, there's different ways of improving gut bacteria. And Bally's gone, boom, there's one. Yeah, he's all about the greens. Yeah, I'm getting there as well. I'm getting there as well. I have to eat all about the greens. Yeah, I eat greens and other things. So supplementing, okay, so supplementing your gut bacteria, yes. Bally's mentioned a probiotic that is available. There are others. I'm not going to start pushing one over another, but you can get different bacteria that you can actually supplement into your gut. I will say this though, a lot of people will also come to saying I have Actimel every day, and so I'm taking care of it, or any other supermarket bought probiotic. I mean, look, it's not like it's better or worse, or over something's better over nothing. However, you look at studies and actually look at it, the amount of bacteria that has to get through your stomach to get into your gut. If you think about, just so we get off track a little bit, but the acidity and alkali in your stomach, well, there's acid in there to get rid of bacteria. So for something like a probiotic to get through the stomach into the gut to actually do what we need to do, which is boost your immunity, you need something a bit more potent. And if you see the petri dishes of what gets through someone's whole digestion into the gut and out the other side in their poo, so there we go for it. 1 on 6. Can't go through this without saying it. It's impossible. You'll see that, and I don't know who did this, by the way, but somebody did do this study and have that examined. How much gets through your gut based on something that's bought in the supermarket as opposed to the others you can get is significantly less. So there is something in there, but it was like on the petri dish, it was like this. Doesn't you get powdered forms? Now powdered forms were a little bit more like and then you can get a liquid form. It's like this. Boom. That's probably what happened when you go to the toilet. But however, you can increase good bacteria, but again, it's a balance between the two, so it's just about throwing one in, so you can balance that by placing that in. There are other supplements available, of which I'm seriously tempted to try over the next month. It's just incredibly expensive and has a rather interesting side effect where you can completely take out your gut flora and resupply it. As you imagine though, has some side effects which require you to be near a bathroom for at least 4 days because you want to reset your whole bacteria. The lasting effects, apparently, I've had told to me, is a fantastic immune system because it does reset your whole system. The thing about something like a pre-postbiotic is that it boosts the good bacteria, but again, it's about the balance between good and bad in your existing gut. So sometimes you're just throwing something in, but actually to reset the whole thing takes a little bit more work, right? I'm not ready to try that yet. If someone wants to ask me about that, you can ask me about that privately if you want to try it. I always insist with clients I prefer to try it first, which is why I haven't had time over the last 3 years to be chained to a toilet for 4 days consistently. Well, working at home, I can try. So it's potential on the cards. Fairing you don't want to do something like that. The thing is that if you're looking at gut bacteria and how to do that naturally, and Hafsa's other half was throwing it in from the other room, yes. I'm going to be honest, there's a huge indication that increasing vegetables and the variety of vegetables in terms of colour is a fantastic way of naturally boosting bacteria in your gut through whole foods. If I go back to the initial point, saying that hundreds of years ago we wouldn't be banging back Pringles with a spear, right? That is if we want to go the polar opposite and actually go back to fundamentals, you're going back to whole. Again, I'm not so fond of this terminology, whole foods from the earth, but they are. If you think whole food as in less processed, less bacteria put in by industrial processing, you're going back to ingesting bacteria into your gut, which is preferential to overall immunity. Again, going back to the real reason why we're doing this stuff right now. Like, get it. I mean, yes, there's lots of other things to make you healthy. Gut bacteria and immune systems, like, again, 70% of your immune system's in your gut, so it's in you. A lot of interest of people right now to boost their immune system as much as they can. So to switch on to more, okay, I'm going to say this. I'm doing a live on this week, or next week, I can't remember what it is. A more plant-based, that terminology as well, I'll go into that in this live, but a more plant-based diet has its benefits, okay? So a plant-based diet has its benefits for that reason, right? To do that, and again, I can only do this because I've gone that way myself as well. That I'm more plant-based, and actually, I've not had a cold for. I've had one in 2 years, I think. Started going plant-based about 18 months ago. More plant-based, not completely there yet. However, my immune system's very good. I haven't taken Simprove for I've not needed to or had the requirement to for quite some time. Considering I started as a client very overweight, very chained to a toilet for different reasons. Gut bacteria now is actually probably the best it's been my entire adult life. And my energy levels, and people say what it's like was it like having going more vegan, Helen? I'm like, I just overall my energy levels are better, my sleep's better, everything's improved, right? And part of that is my gut and my digestive system. It's like only over the last week where I've dived, which is another reason to do this live. Only over the last week I've deviated from that, and dear God, do I know it? Not really good, right? This was saying when you know something's off, you know it. The difference is that most of us accept our gut health as how it is, and then every day it's the same, right? So we don't see the difference. So yeah, thinking about doing it naturally is always a preference of, as well as if you need to when you start working with us, definitely we'll do a whole health assessment form and in a pathway in our heads, but like, right, okay, this is where someone will need help. Even for females with issues with this is where it gets interesting. There's some science behind this, and we'll go into it because there's lots of syllables with words, and I don't really know it all in depth. Other than the fact there is an also associated link with gut bacteria and the ability for a female to have a regular period cycle is also impacted. Generally speaking, it's through the transportation of hormones that gut bacteria also has an impact on that. So there's lots of reasons for lots of our clients to start to look at principally gut health. Now, just to continue with issues that people may come with this without, because the thing is, giving solutions to this on a live when it's all individual to a person, I'm probably not going to do. A, because it's unique to the client, and B, because there's a whole system in place with the clients. I'm not necessarily going into details. But there's one I mentioned earlier, which also comes up a lot. Now, leaky gut is this, I mean, before I started doing all my education and everything else, it's like, I've never heard of this terminology before. I was fascinated and spent a lot of time looking into it and researching it. And for good reason, actually, because if I meet a client for the first time, certainly in person as well, the things I'm looking at is, you know, do they have eczema? Do they have any kind of skin irritation? Do they have kind of issues with skin, issues with hair? Do they have asthma? All these things that as people we accept again as normal life, we don't associate with the fact that that's also to do with gut health, or a sign that digestion isn't as it could be, because these are all long-term impacts of something called leaky gut, where essentially, if you, again going back to the hundreds of years ago, I wonder how many, if you gave caveman some Pringles, you'd probably go down like a sack of poo. 7, not bad, because he would find it, he'd be so intolerant to it that he would automatically feel terrible. Except what we do now is that we slowly build up the terrible over very small increments. So every time we have something that we're actually intolerant to, we actually build up. And what happens to build is that the gut wall is actually impaired. So the mucosa is impaired, it's damaged. And having to say, I'm sorry to keep saying the same thing. It's a P word, it's not the other word half, so it's Pringles, I know. So there's something called villi in the gut, and they're quite interesting actually, because I don't know why I'm doing this. They're shaped like this, and they kind of, when I see them in my head, they're swaying as food goes through. And what happens is they're meant to be tightly packed together like this. And what happens is over time, because of the impact of intolerances, they start to come apart slightly, just a little bit. Unfortunately, the little bit, to say it like that, the little bit is enough for particles of food to go into the bloodstream, so for bacteria to get through, and actually for nutrition, because what happens is they slowly get worn away. The actual villi is that I can't make my fingers wilt, but they are. That's what happens. And what then happens is that nutrition doesn't actually get absorbed through, because what should be happening is that nutrition gets absorbed to the top, and as they melt away and kind of the tight junctions come apart, that is where it's called leaky gut, because it's leaking through. Now that in itself, interestingly, is manageable, right? That is manageable, and we'll come into all kinds of symptoms, right? What happens is over time, if that continues, is that basically our body tries to attack it, because it sees as that, okay, well, there's bacteria. Well, I'm going to try and attack that within my body. It shouldn't be there. I'm going to attack it from within, and there's where you see long-term issues such as food intolerances, because it builds to a full intolerance, or actually allergies. You can see some people actually develop allergies if it's really extreme. Asthma, anything down to any autoimmune system issues. It goes down the list. Sinus problems, have people with sinus problems, all of it, all signs of actually, and they relate it to the area of which it's on their body, like, oh, I've been taking steroid cream for the skin, but actually the skin isn't the issue, it's what's being digested that's creating that within your body. Very often, if somebody has an intolerance to something, they usually had a childhood asthma, or asthma at some point, or multiples. And that in itself, again, this is all manageable, by the way. All of this is manageable, because what we'll do with the client is put again, it's not something you can go, let me just fix that for you straight away. Boom. No. It takes a lot of time and lots of consistency, and is never something to be tackled straight away, because there's lots of foundation things we can do with someone's gut health, and then that will come naturally on the way a lot of the time. However, if you're an existing client with us, and I'm not sure if any of you guys have done it, actually, good. I've done a separate live or podcast on elimination diets. They're often suggested, again, by GPs to clients, and they're not often followed through as in an actual structure given. It's just what you could do in the future is try an elimination diet. The client will leave the appointment and go, oh, elimination diet, you remember that? Yeah. And then they'll, I don't know, eat something with the thing that's actually irritating them on the way home, for example, or that night, and forget about it because, like, oh god, pain, right? There's a whole structure that we do, the elimination process that I went through, and different levels of how you do it. Ultimately, you're trying to find the thing that's creating it, right? So it's not a game of cat and mouse. There's a system to it. You can get it, and how quickly you get it, or how much you want to get it, is down to how extreme you want to go on it. I've had one client, it took 4 months in total, actually. No, 3 months. I apologise. 3 months, just in time for Christmas. Dear God. You know what though? It actually, yes, the end goal wasn't to help them lose weight, although it did, because nutrition got a lot better, digestion got a lot better, processed foods came out, right? So all the things that would actually even irritate us normally, gut bacteria anyway, were out. And also we managed to pin down what it was that was causing the skin irritation, and guess what? The skin got better for the first time. So from getting to the level where it was actually bleeding, it was that irritated, to not having to even use the cream at all, was a huge life-changing situation for that client. And a byproduct with them is completely reorganising their gut bacteria and their overall energy and health levels, right? We have loads of tactics for this, by the way. I'm not going to give them all away. And that's just one. Like, there's loads of, as clients, all of you at some point would have experienced some of the things we put into place for clients to help with their digestion, right? How much you get of that and how much you use is dependent on how long you work with us, yes, because ultimately, let's be real, a lot of clients come to us because they want to lose weight. They want to lose body fat. And so they may not, and you guys may not have registered this as being an issue. I certainly did not. Hands down. I was like, yeah, I put 5 pounds a day. Well, that's normal, right? I mean, I'm very overweight. Yeah, that's okay. I just want to lose some weight. Good, yeah. And didn't foresee at the start of my journey that I could feel so much better, have better sleep, better energy, all the rest of it. I associated it all with exercise. It's only now as a coach and looking back on the journey and knowing exactly what was going on and what Sam was doing in a coaching perspective, that I can understand that actually what's happening is that my entire digestive system's been corrected. Ta-da! Boom! I took 3 years. Now, I'm not saying that it takes 3 years to correct someone's digestive system, no. However, you consider the damage it's done with, when I did the wilting finger cells, right? That is going to take some time. And there's other supplements we suggest and things that can help that continue as well, because there are, right? It takes as long to correct as it takes to have been battering our systems a lot of the time with the food that we have been eating or trying to process. Because again, we're not meant to be. Caveman's not meant to be eating snacks in a tube. Does that help how to say snacks in a tube and not the P word? Ooh, No, not that flavour, Hafsa. Dear God. Hafsa suggesting a flavour of Pringle. No. No, Hafsa, retract that. You might as well have just said barbecue and have done with it. Ugh. Don't waste... Don't waste your gut health on that. So, these are all examples where it goes wrong, and I've touched on little bits here and there, and where you can improve it and what you can do. I could do like literally probably about 2 hours on this. I mean, I don't know how many people would get through it. I mean, everyone stay for 2 hours to go through it all. And the point is that because it's so unique, because all our bodies are unique, and all our gut bacteria is unique as well, right? So this is where it's all very bespoke and all very individual, and all very much based on somebody's individual symptoms or troubles they've been having with their gut health, right? And that's part of what we do, is just find out uniquely what works or doesn't work for somebody. Nutritionally, I can set somebody up on a way of looking at nutrition straight off the bat will improve all of this. The thing is, they have to be in the place to understand, a bit like my live yesterday about consistency, that consistently if they look after their nutrition or look after their portion sizes or all the rest of it, part of that will, not even alone part of it, a large portion of this will take care of all the things they've been struggling with, like overeating, like bloating, like farting, like pooing too much or too little. Still keeping count. It's just that actually, again, we've been living it so long, we think it's normal. And it ain't. Right. That's not bad, actually, timing wise. I think 30 minutes is not bad on this. Considering I'm on 9 bar gate. I should have done a count for every time I said Pringles for Hafsa. There you go, Hafsa. Pringles. Top it up. Should do a quick recap, right? Hey, Jazad. So no, we didn't eat the foods we did hundreds of years ago. So I don't know why on earth we think our digestive systems are going to be able to tolerate anything in a packet. Anything packet based. Our actual digestive systems are not fundamentally created to be able to process. It's not. We still want to, though, don't we? We still want our bodies to process anything that we want to throw in it, and expect the outcome to be good. Brian Walsh is a great guy, and he looks at he's fantastic at pretty much everything in a coaching perspective, or his knowledge. And he said, because you hear the saying, you are what you eat, and he rephrased it. He says, you are what you eat, process and digest and utilize. I think it's something like that. Don't quote me on that, it's because I'm not quoting him very well. However, that's principally what happens when it comes to gut health. I'm not suggesting we're all a tin of Pringles. I'm saying, though, that if we process Pringles, what comes out of that? Poor health, poor digestion, poor skin, intolerances, allergies. Ugh. We know the thing is that we've been attempting to do it for so long as human beings, clients and coaches, that we expect the outcome to be different, right? We expect that somehow our bodies asking to do something it's not built for day dot, and go, hey, eat this. And then we seem to get surprised when it doesn't happen or it doesn't work well, and yet we accept the symptoms that come with it afterwards, like bloating and farting, because it becomes part of social norm or expected behaviour after every meal. And what I'm saying to you is actually that should not be happening after every meal. It shouldn't be happening. There's a sign your gut health needs some attention. Or if there's some gut bacteria issues, about balances, about some approaches to supplements that can be taken to look after different parts of it, where bacteria comes in from as well, actually, like pretty much everything that's processed, right? But is it good bacteria that our gut particularly wants? Well, all right. How to look at that? Naturally fermented foods, right? By the way, fermented foods are great for things like that. Sauerkraut, oh, I love that anyway. But things like that, we're not going to do supplementation. Less sugar, refined sugars, and sweeteners. The thing is it always says to me, "Is fizzy drinks okay, Helen?" I'm like, diets, go zero. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if someone's going to make an improvement with their nutrition from full fat Coke to diet or zero, of course, that's okay. Again, though, there's artificial sweeteners in those anyway, and there's other stuff in it that, again, you know, caveman wouldn't be having Pringles and a Coke Zero. So there's still some elements of what's in there that doesn't help our gut bacteria, and therefore our immune system. Reminder, 70% of your immune system's in your gut. So it's in our interest, certainly about these days and times, to be looking after that. Also, side note, if you've ever been on antibiotics, yeah, you know you don't feel great afterwards. And that's partly because those wipe it out, like, gone, right? So the worst thing to do is have antibiotics, recover, and just slam back loads of sugary food and anything processed, basically, because all you're doing is making it worse. And no surprise that sleep, which I've covered a billion times a few weeks ago, is a massive help with things like this, by the way. Sleep and exercise naturally improve bacteria. Who knew? Yeah, true fact. Also, whenever leaky gut, so what leaky gut is, did my fingers, it's not a great example of what it is, however, it is what it is, as we say. What happens and where leaky gut leads to, and well, I'm not going to go into all the secrets, obviously, of the trade. There are different ways of resolving and dealing with it, of which we interplay all the time. The elimination diets, yes, something that can deal with that, but also just general good foundations of nutrition, which is all we do with our clients anyway. Ta-da! Boofed. So I went 9 times. I'm going to round it up to 10. 9 times saying the word poo. 10. There you go. I won't do a live just on that because I think me counting that many times would be a lot. But I think 10 times is actually not bad for a live that's to do with digestion, gut health. Everything goes in, comes out, right? Oh, I could do a live just on that. I'm really interested. I could. Let's go through the Bristol chart. Everyone comment, how's yours on the Bristol chart? Everyone's like, what is the Bristol chart? Google the Bristol chart and you understand what I mean. I could go into it. I won't. It's a Saturday morning. People have got other things I want to talk about. However, it's better to do it in the morning than the night, I suppose, at tea time at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. Who's like, yeah, do it. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Look after your gut health. It's amazing. If anybody's watching, and I think some of you are, if you had real problems with digestion, it's always one of those where you look back and go, I wish I had done that sooner. Yeah. Yes. It again takes consistency, takes looking after. Like I said, mine now is after 3 years. Yeah, Prince and Charles and Norman house. I was like, rate my. There's this. I don't even know the sites that exist. I hope not. Off track, so thank you. It's taken me 3 years. Now, what's interesting is that I know, like I did this week, when I push the boundary, what happens? I just haven't had it for so long. Mine's garlic, by the way. Fresh garlic, crushed garlic, annoyingly. Paid the price for that one most of this week. So the thing is that knowing it helps. Like if I didn't know that, yes, I knew that before. I introduced it one day this week, 3 days later, still having some issues, right? I know now, okay, I remind myself now, that's the reason why I don't have it. And I can reset it quite quickly. So I can set my digestive tract back on form. It'll be right by tomorrow, actually, tomorrow, Monday. Before I even try that other supplement I reference, which I'm not. I think I'm too scared. I'll be like that. Everybody has a one-to-one this week. I was like, where are you? I'm like, bathroom. Sally's got hers first on Monday. Sally will be like, oh, where are you? Sally! I'm not going to do that. But the thing is, it's taken me that long to get it 100% right. So these things take time. They're worth it, though. They're genuinely worth it. So yeah, I will catch everybody Monday at 5 as standard. Have a tip-top weekend, guys. Ciao.